Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. It's time for the first look with my newest rich friend, Trevor Hillstrom here. Trustin' Trevor, who pulled down $100K on Monday night. Congratulations, Trevor. I got a text from him, about 1 a.m., and you were literally up by 3 points, and you pulled it out, my man.
Yeah, it was a sweat, The lineup I had, I had the Texans defense, and it didn't look really good for the longest time. And at that point, you're just trying to cash. And, you're going from $1,000, winning $1,000 to $2,000 to winning $100,000, and then literally one play. And it's like, wow. And then you're just like, hold on. And you were 30 seconds ahead of me, your telecast. And when I seen it, I'm like looking at Charbonnet got tackled, and I think they're having to punt. You said game over. I'm like, what happened? And then all of a sudden, a delayed 10 seconds later, a flag came out. I'm like, oh, you seen that before me? So
I hope I didn't ruin it for you. I apologize if I ruined the big win.
No, I was relieved.
Well, look, I want to say two things. One, Trevor did something that I always tell people to do. He had a great Sunday, right? He won over 6K on Sunday. So it's been 106K in the last week. But he played higher entries, right? Because you're reducing the number of your competitors. Because when you're playing the donkey, the $4 in a dream, Trevor, good luck beating 379,000 of your closest friends.
Yeah. I played pretty high. I had a really good season in football last year. I mean, really good. I had a pretty good baseball season. So, I don't think I've had a losing season in DFS in 4 or 5 years. So I do play a lot of higher content. I do play a lot of volume on Sunday. I play a ton of volume, but I'm playing my core guys. And then on these showdown sites, I don't play the $15, 200,000 people in it. I play the $400, 500 people in it, and then try to get rid of plays that will eliminate the competition. And sometimes it don't work. Sometimes, it just really stinks, but it paid off on Monday.
It certainly did. So listen, if you want to get Trevor's information, of course, you're going to get it here, and you're going to get it on our videos. But check out drroto.com. Enter the promo code Trevor. We'll get you 20% off our DFS All Access monthly package. And you know what I love about you? Seriously, this is very important to me. When we talk about the plays, you play them that week. Some people, they talk about plays and then you see a lineup and it's nothing like what they're saying. You back it up from earlier in the week. By the time it's Sunday, your guys are your guys.
Yeah, in general, sometimes, it is Wednesday and you get these gut shots. Like, last week I mentioned about Brown against the Vikings. I didn't play much of him on Sunday, and I'm just driving myself nuts because I had those plays.
You had it. You mentioned it.
And I know it's against my Vikings, and I know their weaknesses. I know they're not as good as they. But sometimes it does change. Sometimes Sunday morning I'll wake up and I'll just have a whole different gut feeling, and I try not to deviate from my article. So if it is off from what my article is, I apologize. It's not meant to be.
Right.
But 90% of the time it's not.
My article really good. Like when Brissett was named the starter. I mean, look, anybody's going to do that, right? So yeah. I get that, but I think you do a really tremendous job. So let's take a look at this week.
Yeah.
Let's kick it off at quarterback, Trevor. I could not imagine a world where I'm playing Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, but there is a world where I would consider Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. Lamar, you've got to think that Baltimore has to start winning right now, and the Bears have looked better than they really are. And Baker is playing in a pace-up game against New Orleans. I know there's no Evans, maybe there's no Godwin, but does it really matter? They've got a bunch of guys there. Are you interested in paying up at quarterback this week?
I'm interested in those two instead of Allen and Hurts for sure. Lamar is, this is the type of game, he could have that 30-point game. You got to figure he's got to score. This is, they got to pretty much win almost all the way out to make the playoffs. I mean, they might be able to get away with 1 or 2 losses, but this is the game. Now, he didn't practice Monday, I'm sure he must be back to practice because the line is still like 6 or 7 points. So Vegas must think he's playing. So.
Well, all right. So Jake Taylor asks, I know we're going to get to this. Do we like the Bucs defense against New Orleans?
I do like the Bucs defense against New Orleans, but I also like Spencer Rattler this week too.
I do too. He's interesting at home.
The Eagles defense at home, I probably would prefer the Eagles defense at home against the Giants. I don't know why. I know it's probably not popular because Scadaboo and Dart are the new biggest thing, but the Eagles defense is pretty tough. And last time the Giants played them, Jalen Carter was out. He'll be in. I think they're going to struggle to run the ball because if you look at the Scadaboo game that he scored 3 touchdowns in the first, he wasn't like running up and down on Philadelphia. He just was getting plunges inside.
He was getting the push, right? Yeah. I mean, I think to think that game was going to be the same result is a big mistake. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't want any part of it.
No, I'm part of the Philly defense.
Yeah.
But
I do like Mason Taylor. We'll get to that in a second.
Yes, we'll get to him.
All right. When we get to the middle quarterbacks, Trevor, Daniel Jones plays a bad Titans team. Bo Nix plays Dallas, who, I mean, not good at all. Caleb Williams plays Baltimore. Is that a sweet spot for quarterbacks this week?
I think so. I imagine I'm going to have a lot of Williams, a lot of Nix. We mentioned Nix last week, and I did play him a little bit, but he was a dud for 52 minutes.
He was a superstar.
Then he was great for 8. And that's all it took. But Williams didn't have a really good week last week. They didn't need him. They're going to need him this week against Baltimore. Baltimore's been terrible against the pass. So I think definitely that Williams is in play, and he's cheap enough, 5,600. I mean, he should break 20 points in this game. I can't imagine he doesn't.
I don't want to play him. I really don't. I kind of hate him. I'd rather go low. Let's talk about going lower.
Oh, yes. There's a lot of them, too. I mean, there
are. Flacco at 54. Rattler, who you mentioned, at 47. Tyrod Taylor at 45. Dylan Gabriel at 42. What if I told you that Tyrod Taylor's not the worst start I ever heard?
No, I'll have lineups of Tyrod Taylor. There's no doubt about it because the Bengals defense is that bad, especially if Garrett Wilson is back. I mean, that's just bad. I do like Rattler against Tampa because you can't run against them. They have nobody that can run the football there. And, we're going to talk about the receivers too, and I like some of those receivers. So I kind of like Rattler too at his price against Tampa, which I think you mentioned it's going to be a fast-paced game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I even kind of like a little bit of Cam Ward, as much as I hate to say it, but he's, coming back. I'm not on Jones this week because, they played Tennessee last time. Taylor ran over them pretty well. He just doesn't need to throw in these games, and they won't throw. They're glad running the football up 2 touchdowns.
What about, is there any chance that you would even consider Dylan Gabriel? Because it's hard to run on New England, and Judkins had that generational game last week. I don't think he does it again this week.
No, I don't think Judkins will, but I don't see myself playing Gabriel at all.
Here's my problem with Rattler. I want to go back to Rattler for a second. Man, when they get in the 5-yard line, I have to look at Taysom Hill, Trevor, and it makes me vomit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I think they'll score from 10 out. They'll have some – I'm banking on that. I'm banking on some – I think Shaheed's going to get a big one.
I do too. Give me your 3 favorite quarterback plays if you had to rank them.
Boy, you put me on the spot here. I think I got to go with Lamar 1 because just of his upside. He's the one guy in the slate that I think can score 35 points plus. Number 2, I think I'm going to go with Caleb Williams and 3 Rattler. But that could easily change. I'm
going to go Lamar 1, Bo Nix 2, Tyrod 3.
I like them too. That's why I'm going to be playing a lot of lineups because I'll play all 5.
But well, because you're rich enough to play all 5. I mean, that's you're very lucky that way. All right. So let's take a look at running back. I cannot get past my next statement. If I played as many lineups as you, which I don't, but if I did,
I think we're going to match here.
Jonathan Taylor and Bijan Robinson in every lineup without fail. I'm not messing around. I think I can get 4 touchdowns minimum, and I'll figure out the rest of my lineup after.
Well, it's definitely going to be Bajan for me. I mean, there's no way around it. The only thing I worry about is they get a big lead in Algier. I think Algier's a play too. But yeah, Taylor, Robinson are going to be tough. How much the CM? Yeah, I even like CMC a lot. I was trying to make lineups to get all three of them in there, and that makes it tough. But see, if you're going to play Taylor and Robinson in each lineup, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of Lamar. Maybe
that's my problem, and
you're going to have to get down to the Rattlers and just hope Rattler has a 20-point game. I think Rattler's going to get 20-some points this week. I really do.
The only thing I might do, and you might like this, I could go Lamar and Henry together and just get all the Baltimore touchdowns.
I never play that way, but I'm not against it. The only reason why I don't play Lamar and Henry together is because Henry don't catch passes. I like it when the other running back, like if you were to, let's say you played San Francisco's quarterback, Mac Jones, and I don't mind playing him with CMC because he catches passes, or even Taylor and Jones together because they catch passes. Henry just seems to cancel out, but Henry is cheap. I mean, 6,200 is really cheap for a guy like Henry.
6,000. He's 6,000 this week.
Or 6,000. Well, where the heck? Oh, I'm looking. Yeah, he's 6,000. So he gets 100 yards and a touchdown. He gets that bonus. He gets So Taylor and Robinson. I'm definitely playing Robinson in a ton of lineups. Taylor will be in a lot too, but not as much as Robinson. Robinson's my top guy on the whole slate.
I'm going to tell you straight up, there is a chance you may disagree with me on FanDuel, not on DraftKings. I might start Robinson and Algier together because I think they both score touchdowns this week. Yes. And I think that Robinson could run 60 yards and Algier can run in the other 30 and whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, what I'm finding, I don't want to knock on DraftKings, but I'm finding that I'm doing a lot better on my Sundays playing FanDuel because the way they price it, I can get more of the guys that I want to play and less of the risk players. For some reason, where their cap is, I get more of the guys I want and less risk. Where in FanDuel or DraftKings, they're priced tighter, and I have to take more chances. At FanDuel, less chances, I get more of my guys.
FanDuel, to me, because of the half-point PPR, last week, I had Jordan Mason, Judkins, and Ramondre Stevenson. So right there, I'm already starting out with a good base, right? Because you're getting the touchdowns. I don't have to worry about the fact that they're not catching passes. Where on DraftKings, some guy goes 5 for 50 out of the back. Jeremy McNichols is a play and he shouldn't be a play, right? This guy is a scrub. On FanDuel, this guy's worthless. But on DraftKings, there's some worth there. Is there any other running back? Because I'm not seeing one. I'm really not. I guess I could say James Cook, but Carolina's run defense has been better. I do like Chuba, and I do like Rico Dowdle because you can run on Buffalo. But I don't know if I'm seeing value deep in this.
Well, if we're going to talk about FanDuel, have you seen Dowdle's price on FanDuel? He's one of the lowest price running backs on FanDuel.
6,300?
6,300. That's the same.
I'm playing him. That's 100% playing him. 100%.
Yeah, you got to play him in there, and he's not the value in DraftKings because he's like the fifth or I'm trying to look the 7th or 8th price guy.
I love Dowdle this week. Atlanta exposed Buffalo. Exposed them. You run, and Atlanta has two guys just like Carolina has two guys, right? Two guys who can just pound the football. Andy Dalton is, in my mind, better than Bryce Young because he can complete a pass when he needs to, right? Where Bryce Young doesn't always. But Matt, I just feel like my running back pool this week is very tight, Trevor. It's really tight.
Yeah, I think so too because you're not going back to Judkins. You could, like I said, Henry's a play. I don't think Barkley's a play.
Rashad White? I think Rashad White's in play.
Rashad White is in play, yeah, because I think Irving isn't going to play. They're going to hold him out because they got to bye next week, so there's really no reason to play him. So, yeah, White is a play. I write all these names down, and I'm looking. Oh, White's 6,400. He's priced up pretty high though, but he is against New Orleans. New Orleans gave up a lot of points to Swift last week. You could see the same thing. And Baker, they got to start using Swift more in the passing game in some of these games.
Well, yeah, and Permar, we said this. Permar said White and Hall. White for sure. I guess Hall, but Man, Trevor,
Well, Cincinnati is that bad.
I know, but if Tyrod Taylor's in, it makes the whole team better. Permar does bring up, what about J.K. Dobbins?
I mean, Dobbins is going to be fine, but he doesn't have that ceiling game. He seems like his ceiling is like 19, 20 points. I'd have to look it up. It just feels like his ceiling isn't very high. Where these other guys, like Bijan Robinson's ceiling is 40 points.
40.
I mean,
this week, Trevor, and tell me if I'm wrong, I think this week is going to come down to the wide receiver choices that people make.
Oh, definitely, because you're going to have to. That's going to be a really huge ordeal.
Because I feel like the running backs. Look, there's about 6 or 7 guys. Maybe you could get cute. I don't want to get cute. I think at wide receiver, figuring out, and I've got to think. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, Trevor. It's probably somewhere between 5,600 and 38, like 38 to 5,600. I'm going to need to find 3 guys
in the wide receiver range.
Yeah, like for example, Permar says Tez and Mims, for example.
Well, I like Tez. Yeah, Tez, Mims. We had Sutton and Mims last week in a lot of lineups. They got like 7 catches and 80 yards between the two, both of them, but they didn't get the touchdowns. The guys that caught like 2 passes got touchdowns, but that's the way
bobbled it, and Franklin just caught it there. That's lucky. But I think we're going to have to find 3 receivers in that sweet spot. Is there a guy that you like?
There's one guy jumps off the charts to me. There's 5,400. He just says, "Play me, play me, play me." And Zay Flowers.
Love him. Lock.
He just jumps him right out. Yeah, he's got to have a big game on Sunday, I would think. I'm just looking. He's just the main guy that comes out to me now. I don't know if I can trust Jennings. I'd like to trust Jennings, but I can't. I do like Tez as if you play a lot of lineups, he's going to definitely make some of my lineups. Rashid Shaheed.
I like Shaheed.
I like Shaheed.
I do too.
He does have a lot of risk. You could get the done game, but I think he'll be okay. And Boutte is a guy I'm looking at.
I like Boutte. What about Jalen Noel against San Francisco, who can't stop a slot receiver?
Maybe. The thing is, the problem I have with the Texans is they're poorly coached. You can see that on Sunday.
Oh, terrible.
On Monday night. I mean, Stroud is confidence is rattled. He's under pressure all the time, and then when there's not pressure, he's feeling fake pressure, and he's throwing into all this coverage and. They don't max protect for the guy. They have tight ends trying to block defensive ends. I don't.
Wait, how about they ran the same play to Woody Marks
at the
twice?
Goal line?
The same play.
Well, at the midfield. At midfield, it was 3rd and 1 at midfield, and then went to 4th and 1. I think they ran it just a little bit wider.
But at the goal line, they ran the same play. I mean, it was ridiculous.
And then they were at the goal line, and they ran it to the half-yard line, and then they ran the same rollout right play at the goal line. 2nd goal at the 1, roll out right, nothing. They did it 3rd. I don't care how it happened on Monday night. I'm happy just the way it all went down.
Yeah, it went down perfectly for you. Listen, I got a guy, Trevor. Okay. What about DK for Tennessee? And I'm going to say something here. DK also returns kicks. So you get the double dip potentially.
Well, I do kind of like him because the Colts don't mind giving up passing yards, especially when they're way ahead. You've seen it last week. I mean, Herbert had no business throwing 420 yards against the Colts, but they didn't care. They were just stomping the heck out of them, and they're going to probably be way ahead on. And they'll give up 7 catches, do them for 7. Maybe they'll give up a touchdown.
Is that why you like Cam Ward? Because you mentioned Cam Ward earlier. Could this be Cam Ward garbage time?
Yeah, Cam Ward in garbage time. Now, he's thrown for 250, 260 yards a couple times. He's only thrown for that 1 touchdown. We need him to get 2 touchdown passes at that price and maybe run for a few yards. But, I kind of like him. But, the more I think of it, if I'm going to spend 40, what's his price?
DK's 3,400.
Yeah, what's Young's Ward's 4,600? I think yeah, I'd just rather pay the 100 more for Rattler. So, but I still like DK.
All right, so all right, just give me a second here because I want to. So we want Robinson in. Who do you want? You want Rattler, which I'm fine with. Who is your other? Can we put Jonathan Taylor in?
We can try it.
Okay. Do we want Henry, or is there another guy you want?
There's nobody that's imperative there.
All right, so I'll leave it blank. What you want Zay Flowers in for sure? Let me do this. Can we do Lamar instead of Rattler or no?
And get the 2 running backs in there?
Yeah, is that even possible?
Mm-hmm. That is the $1 million question. So then
give me a tight end that you like who's cheap. I like Mason Taylor this week. Is there a guy that you like?
Mason Taylor.
Yeah, I know. I'm going right back there. Defense, who's the cheap defense of the week? Cincinnati?
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans?
Maybe New Orleans. Can New Orleans get pressure?
Well, I'm just trying to put a lineup in to see what we could even do.
Well, let's just go with New Orleans just to see.
Okay. So we have 3 spots open for an average of $4,500. 3 spots. So we have Lamar, Bijan, Taylor, Flowers, Mason Taylor, and the Saints. 3 more spots. So
you can definitely go Butte,
Shaheed,
and probably.
So Butte, Shaheed, and you have 4,200.
And you can get DK in there.
Or do you like Tez Johnson more?
Yeah, I don't. Well, see, if you play DK, you can get off the Saints defense.
Okay, so let's do that. So let's get
What's Tez Johnson at?
So Tez Johnson, give me a second, and I'm going to get off the New Orleans defense. I can go up. Oh, here's one. Ready? Tell me if you like this team or not. Lamar, Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, Zay Flowers, Shaheed, DK, Mason Taylor, Tez Johnson in Atlanta.
Who did I miss?
Well, we have Lamar with Bijan and Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
The receivers are Zay, Shaheed, and DK. The tight end is Mason Taylor. The flex is Tez. And I put in the Falcons defense.
Yeah, I like that. So I definitely like the Falcons defense. They're really good. I mean, they didn't play good last week, but that's because their offense didn't do very good. So
could we win with that team? Is that good enough?
Well, it certainly could be, because who was the flex again?
I have Tez right now in the Tez.
Yeah, I like that lineup. Yeah, it surely can win, because you have the 3 guys that can really blow up a slate, the 2 running backs and the quarterback. And I don't think our receivers are in a bad position here. I think that they're
in good spots, right?
They're in really good spots. Shaheed's in a good spot. Flowers is in an excellent spot. DK is in a great spot. Tez Johnson is in a great spot.
Right. Good team. I think for a first look, this is a pretty solid roster, honestly.
I'm not changing that one lineup. I just put it in the Millie Maker.
There we go. I'll split it. We'll split it. All right, let's keep going here. At tight end, Trevor, assuming Tyrod is starting, Mason Taylor is my guy without question.
Yeah, Taylor's the guy, because you've seen right away he went right to in the fourth quarter there. He was going, and we just needed the Jets to get the ball a little bit more. And, I'm not paying up high for the tight ends this week.
No.
I mean, I could see a good game from Warren. You know who's really cheap, though, and they might need him? And this is for like the Millie Maker player. If you really need a desperate tight end, what about Isaiah Likely sitting there at 2,600?
Wow. They're just handing him to you. Wow. That's a good one.
And he's done it before. He's had big games before. They don't have a lot at receiver. This is a big game they need. At 2,600 for Isaiah Likely, I mean, woo.
I think the other 2 guys I like, one, I think it's Cade Otton.
He's going to get upside. I wrote that in the article today. I mean, he's definitely got to be more involved if they want to win these games.
They have to be more involved. And the other guy maybe is Noah Fant. I mean, because Gesicki's out.
Yeah, fans okay.
But I'm not getting away from Mason Taylor. If I do 100 lineups, Trevor, Mason Taylor will be in all 100.
Yeah, I just can't see myself getting away from Taylor. And,
Right.
that was a question yesterday. People were talking about cutting Taylor. I'm like, you're cutting him at the wrong time.
Yeah, wrong time. Permar says Otten and Schultz. My man Hollywood says, do you play Michael Pittman Jr. this weekend? I'm going to say no, Trevor. I don't feel like this is a Pittman weekend.
They spread the ball around a lot. And is he good? He could get you 20 points, but I don't think he can get you much more than 20.
I say he goes like 5 or 6 for 70. Maybe he gets a touchdown. If he does, it's 19 points. I mean, it's good, but I don't see a blow up week because they're going to beat Tennessee.
Yeah.
Right? Jonathan Taylor.
The thing that I worry about our lineup is the Jamar Chase blow-up game because I think Sauce Gardner is going to be out.
Oh.
If Sauce is out, I mean, Jamar Chase has got to find some of my lineups. And then I'd have to pay down at one running back position.
I mean, look, we're not paying down for Bijan's not moving. Could I switch Jonathan Taylor to Chase?
I think you could, yeah. Yeah, you could switch that. And, Chase Brown is still pretty cheap. I think Chase Brown is – he's a guy that if you make a lot of lineups like me, he's going to be in quite a few too. I mean, I can't just have 100% lineups. Last week I had almost 100% lineups in Taylor and Judkins because I just thought they were such slam dunk plays. And you had the high price guy and you had that medium price guy low, where it was like you could do that and feel real comfortable. If you do it with Taylor and Robinson, you still got CMC that can outdo them.
I don't see that this week. I think Kittle scores this week because he did nothing last week. Ricky Pearsall's back. I just don't see it.
I don't either, but it's always looming. But you can't. You got to risk it. So I am going to have a lot of Taylor and Robinson and figure out with the receivers yet that week. So last week, if you would have taken the receivers that won the big money, were all in the 5,000 range.
I know.
Pittman's, it was all 5,000. So you didn't even have to look past 5,000.
I mean, look, I like the Chase, Sutton, and Buka lineup. I like it. But I guess the other thing I can do, I don't need Lamar and Flowers. I want Lamar and Flowers, right?
I do like Sutton a lot too, but I'll be mixing. But the thing I didn't like about Buka, he didn't look right to me on Monday night.
He didn't look right. I don't think they should have played him.
No, they should have told him you got to sit your A down for a game and just say, hey, we know better than you because Baker whizzed one right to him in the end zone, and normally he catches that ball and he looked off.
He looked off. I mean, that whole team, once Mike Evans went out, the whole team was off. The referees. I mean, that play with Otten was ridiculous. With reviewing it a couple times. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Where it looked like he was over. Then how can you overturn that play? I don't know how you can overturn the Hawkinson touchdown against Philadelphia. But what do I know? If he's wearing Kelsey red, that ain't overturned.
What we could do though is if we got rid of Lamar, right, and we got rid of Zay, which I know you don't want to do. If we added Rattler, you'd be really close. You're not far from Jamar Chase, right? If we took out Atlanta's D, right? So you could be ready, Rattler, Bijan, Taylor, Chase, Shaheed, Taylor, Tez, DK, and now you have 3,000 for a defense.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. So those are the high end options I like, and people, I think when they do DFS, they always just look at the high end options, but the low end options are just as important as or more important because I can figure out the top guys most of the time in football,
right?
And finding out the guys that aren't going to do well or who are going to do well that most people don't think are is the key.
Well, what happens is like right now, I like Tez and I like Shaheed and I like Butte and I like DK, but by Saturday when I do my deep dive, there may be another name. Maybe it's Luther Burden. Maybe it's, a guy I'm not thinking of who might, Rashad Bateman. I'm just throwing names, right? Likely, like you mentioned. guys come up and when you start to analyze it a little bit more. But I mean, right now, I think we're hitting the right pieces.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes by the end of the week. And, we always got the Friday Night Lights to see where they're at with some stuff too. And then Saturday we'll do the Any Given Entry to see what he's got, because Justin seems to come up with some plays that I'm not on, and he's gotten. It was really nice about his sheet doesn't have an eyeball test. His is all on data. My stuff, I don't use data. I use what I watch. The numbers are always in my head, but I'm looking and what I watch. So when my eyeballs match his data, it's usually pretty good.
Right. No, I agree with that. He's almost like the dispassionate person who he doesn't care, right? Whatever the numbers say. I mean, he was on Herbert, right? Herbert and Allen was a great play. I didn't see Gadsden having the generational game that he had, not because he's not good, but I mean, with all four guys there, did you see Gadsden being his number one target? I would have done Keenan and Quentin Johnston. That made more sense to me.
Yeah, that's right. They asked me to pick a Charger receiver. I picked Johnston out of them all because he just had it. And Justin come out with Allen, and that's who I went with. So that's who we went with in the lineup too. So you didn't think Gadsden would have it, and nobody else did. I mean, his ownership had to be pretty low.
Well, let me ask you this question. As long as I have you here, people are going to ask this tomorrow night. Minnesota against the Chargers. Is this a Gadsden week, or did the Vikings cover the tight end well?
Is Van Ginkel finally back? It's been a whirlwind of a week for me, and I'm working nights. I had a dentist appointment today. Yesterday we did the podcast.
Van Ginkel is out. Van Ginkel is ruled out for week 8.
I don't know. There's a lot of receivers for the Vikings secondary to cover, but here's what's going to be the key. Chargers offensive line is terrible. Minnesota's going to be coming after them. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They got to quit laying back. They got to come with blitzes. Minnesota's going to try to control this game with Mason Taylor running the football. I mean,
with Jordan Mason.
Chargers can't stop the run. So Mason Taylor is going to be in my captain mode in just about everything.
Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason. What did I say? Mason Taylor?
You just love Mason Taylor this week. No. All right, I'm with you. I love Jordan Mason this week. Love him. I'm asking, out of the Chargers receivers, how do you rank them, including Gadsden?
McConkey would be my top guy on that list for them. I think the Vikings will have trouble.
So McConkey 1, Gadsden 2. I think Quentin Johnston's my 4 because I don't think Herbert's going to have enough time.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have enough time. It's going to be some outlet passing. So, yeah, Gadsden was a sissy pick and dangerous, so he didn't play him. He said he was a sissy pick because, there were so many other good tight ends. I had a lot of McBride last week, which, was fine, but you weren't winning the $1 million. Well, no, they did win the $1 million with McBride.
Yeah, he was with Gadsden. It was a double tight end.
Gadsden, they used him in the flex.
Look, I picked up, and this is a true story, out of 20 seasonal leagues that I'm in, I picked up Gadsden in like 16 or 17. I only started him in like 4. I just didn't see it. Look, I know what I'm doing. You can't be perfect every week. Now I figure, am I chasing last week's points with Gadsden? I kind of feel like I am.
Yeah, maybe I'm just biased, and maybe this is just what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that Mason Taylor has a great week. If you're talking for seasonal, and I'm playing him over Gadsden. I don't think I even have a share of Gadsden now that I think of it. But
tomorrow night.
But tomorrow night,
Jordan Mason's running for 100 yards. Lock that in, right? Lock that bad boy in. What's happening on the Chargers side? They're going to rush Herbert. What is Herbert going to do?
There's so many variables that happen from week to week. If you look at the Minnesota against Philadelphia last week, Philadelphia couldn't just consistently move the ball down the field. They had a lot of they hit him on big plays, deep plays.
But Isaiah Rodgers got turned around like he was a top.
Well, the one play I could see it was 3rd and 7, and they needed the first down in the ice game, so he just jumped the slant and they faked it. And I don't blame him for that because he's just trying to make a play to get the ball back. Yeah, he got turned around, but Flores didn't blitz. in some situations. You can't let Hurst just stand there and not blitz the guys, in my opinion. And that's what their defense is built for. The Vikings secondary isn't very good. So if Herbert does get time, he's going to pick them apart. But I have to think they're coming after him.
So Permar says Gatson is in your lineup rest of the season, no matter what he does every week. Ceiling is massive. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Oh, yeah. I don't. Unless you have like Tyler Warren or you have.
I do. In many leagues, I have Tyler Warren or I have Kraft. But I'm even using Gadsden, especially this week with all these teams on bye. I think Gadsden's a flex play this week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could play 2 tight ends with Gadsden as a flex for sure.
Yeah.
But for tomorrow night, I don't know. The Vikings, they're so unpredictable. They're just an unpredictable team right now. I'm used to be able to predict what they're going to do, but I don't have much for them.
Before I let you go, all right, before you go off and you start bathing in your money, here's my question: for my guy is Mason Taylor this week?
Yeah,
I'm locking that dude in every lineup. Who's your guy?
I like that.
Who's your guy?
Then I'm locking in every lineup. Well, Bijan Robinson for sure, but those are the only 2 guys I would think about locking. There's not but I really have high premonitions on Zay Flowers. I mean, I have high premonitions on Zay Flowers. I really like Rattler as the low option if you need to save a lot of money. But yeah, Flowers at 5,300. I just think that's way too cheap for the guy. And the must-have game against the Bears. Bears aren't very good against slot receivers.
No.
He should have 8 catches. Now, hopefully it's not 8 catches for 50 yards and no touchdowns.
That's what happens a lot. See, that's when Zay kills you, when he goes 8 for 54 and you put 13.4 out there and you're not winning a tournament because of it. By the way, Hollywood, I'm totally fine with that. If you go Taylor and Gadsden, it's fine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think you're fine with that.
Who's the dart throw this week? It's not Isaiah Davis. It's not Devin Neal. Is it Monangai against Baltimore, or is it Brashard Smith against Washington's putrid run defense?
I would say Brashard Smith because he was getting volume last week, and it wasn't like he was getting in just garbage time. He was getting quality touches when the game was early in the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, look, I think if Breece Hall gets traded, I'm starting Isaiah Davis every week in DFS. That guy can run and catch. He's fine. Yeah,
well, is Davis going to see the field? I mean, Cincinnati is that bad defensively.
Yeah, but you're not playing him. I mean, I'm not playing over Brashard Smith.
No, I wouldn't play him over Smith, but I think I might play him over the other 2.
By the way, how good? Oh, the Chiefs aren't on this. The Chiefs are on Monday night. Yeah, I mean, Chiefs against Mariota. Lock that in.
Chiefs are going into the Super Bowl. There's nobody going to beat them in the AFC. I don't have any confidence in Buffalo no more. All these players are back. They're building confidence. And I just don't.
Rashee Rice is uncoverable. He's uncoverable.
Not according to somebody else I know, but that's besides.
He's uncoverable. He's uncoverable. He only played like 20 snaps. Put him out there for a full game? Forget about it.
Just think when it's meaningful football, when they need to have a big game and he's going to have 10 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. I like Loveland. We mentioned that yesterday. It's hard to play him with the tight ends we have. That's especially for DFS. He's not going to make my DFS lineups.
Right. But I like him, but I'm not playing him.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm desperate for a tight end and seasonal, I might play him.
Right.
I have to be pretty desperate. And I am probably that desperate in some leagues.
If Justin Fields, though, is starting, I will play Loveland and I won't play Mason Taylor. I refuse to play Mason Taylor if Justin Fields is there. I won't.
If Fields is starting, I might play Fields.
You're nuts.
I know, but sometimes nuts is what it takes.
I thought last week Fields and Mason Taylor were my guys, and he took a big dookie on my head.
Not on Fields at all last week. Carolina's defense is a lot better then anybody thinks the optimizers have it wrong with them. They're always the cheap $2,500. They were $2,500 defense last week.
Buffalo is in trouble. Buffalo may win, but this game is going to be really close.
They're not going up and down the field.
No.
Because another thing, what's Carolina going to do? They're going to try to run the ball down Buffalo's throat.
Run.
And
Right.
If you're a FanDuel players, Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, they're both one's 6,400, the other one's 6,300. I like Dowdle better. I just think he looks better. I think he needs to get more touches. Hopefully the coaches think that. But Dowdle is a very cheap play in DFS on FanDuel.
He is. I love the play. I like Derrick Henry. Really, I like Henry this week. There's just – go ahead.
And that's another thing, you shouldn't limit yourself to one site. If you're just playing DraftKings and not playing FanDuel, I think you're really missing out because there are some big price changes that make a big difference on who you're going to play.
Totally.
Especially last week at quarterback. Dak Prescott was, he didn't win the Millionaire Maker last week in DraftKings. At least I don't think he did. I think it was Nick's. But he was still priced at $6,500, and Mahomes was priced way high. If you went over to FanDuel, you got off Dak and you got on to Mahomes because he was priced a lot cheaper, and that's why you have to use the two of you.
Can I tell you why I love this show and why I'm upset at myself? I think I said to you I love Patrick Mahomes, and I know he was my first visionary play. I said he was going to throw for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. Dude threw for 285 and 3. I was off by 5 yards.
Well, he could have threw for 400 if they wanted
400.
to.
I did not put him in any of my DFS lineups. And I'm angry at myself because sometimes what I think on Wednesday night, there's more clarity before I start like reading and examining and analyzing and data and all this crap.
Yeah. So, I had Dak in almost all my DraftKings lineups, and I had Mahomes in almost all my FanDuel lineups. And granted, they didn't win the huge money, but they didn't lose me money, and they built me where I could able to get my players. And you came through with Stevenson. I was on Bill earlier in the week from Washington, and then I changed it all to Stevenson, and it made sense. And I was texting you, he's up to like 60 yards, and they quit giving him the football for a while. I was like, keep giving him the ball. And he scored.
He could have run for 200. He
didn't get in the end zone there. We had a bad day with him.
I know.
He only had like 8.8 points, and they refused to give him the 100 yards.
It was ridiculous. All right. So, by the way, Breece Hall has a knee issue. If he's out this week, Trevor, they're on bye next week. They could be. I would play Isaiah Davis in that flex spot 1,000,000%, without question.
I'm playing. He'd be a lock button play for me. If Hall is out, what is Isaiah Davis's price?
I don't know. I'm gonna check that right now, but I mean that you couldn't be more lock button in life than Isaiah Davis. Isaiah Davis, you 4,100. Tez Johnson out. Isaiah Davis in.
Easy. He's just a lock button play, and if I go down with him, then I'm going to go down with him.
And I don't like Judkins Hollywood for 2 reasons. One, I don't like chasing last week's points. Secondly, the Patriots have a very good run defense. I don't hate Judkins, but this feels like 15 carries, 65 yards. Trevor, doesn't feel like a big week.
No, it just doesn't seem like the week for him, especially when you have the 2 guys sitting there at top that are just going to. Robinson's going to get 100 yards and a touchdown at least. I mean, he's at least 20 points. He's probably 30.
Yeah, easy. I mean, look, the only thing that could hurt him is Tyler Algier.
Or if he gets hurt. They're going to give Robinson his. And another thing we like about this Robinson play is he didn't have that great a week last week.
Right. Oh, he's coming back.
So the
only thing is, to their credit, Robinson runs like 50 yards, and they take him out, and Algier comes in. The next play, he runs for a touchdown. You're like, dude, you're killing me. I will bet Tyler Algier is a prop bet to score. I promise you that. Easy money. Easy money.
Yeah, he's scoring. Miami's run defense is about as bad as it gets.
Yeah. I mean, I think you and I could probably score. But you might be you since you have so much, you be slowed down by all your winnings. Might slow you down. All right, we're out of here on Friday night. Check out Friday Night Lights on Saturday, the single entry show with you and Justin and Danger.
Yeah, 9:15 Eastern, I think we're shooting for.
9:15 Eastern. Of course, I'll be on in the morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. And then Sunday, you've got to get into Discord. That's when we're really shaping lineups, talking about plays that you need to have. Remember, until the end of this month, enter the promo code Trevor, 20% off our DFS All Access package. And hopefully you could be our newest rich friend. All right. For Trevor, and I'm Dr. Roto. Be well and take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.